Okay, welcome to the Comic Book Addict Monthly. This is the YouTube video companion to the Comic Book Addict podcast, which at this point is actually coming out more frequently than the podcast, where I talk about and show what comics I've been reading every month. This time around, for the month of August 2025, I read 149 comics, 67 Marvel, 43 DC, and 39 from other publishers. Let's take a look at them. So let's do DC first this time. Got a couple of big items to get out of the way. First, I read the Superman Treasury 2025 Hero for All special. And I got this cover because, well, look at it. I love these kind of covers where you have hundreds of characters. You can tell the artist took a while. But this was an enjoyable, large-size comic throwback to the old limited collector's edition, large-size issues. And I happen to have one of those here that I've also read in the month of August. Limited collector's edition C23 featuring the House of Mystery. Yeah. Big horror comics. I been reading a lot of Oni's EC revival comics, so I was really in the mood to read horror anthologies, and this was sitting on my shelf of unread books, and went ahead and dug into that. All right, so other DCs, I read Absolute Flash 5. Still enjoying that book. These are going to be out of order. This is the Aftermath issue, the Justice League Dark Tomorrow special. We Are Yesterday Aftermath. If you're reading the We Are Yesterday crossover, which really made some really bounced you around. It was between Justice League United and the Batman and Superman World's Finest. But then it also included one of the annuals and this special. So to get the whole story, you really have to know what issues to look for. But yeah, read that. And if you're a fan of the Legends of Tomorrow TV show, I'd recommend this one. Read Superman 27 and 28. Got caught up with those. Still enjoying Williamson on Superman. And I also read Superman Unlimited 2 and 3. Now, I'm not one to nitpick about most of the things that comic book readers nitpick about, but they just blatantly changed what Crypto looks like in this issue. I mean, even different than his own series, miniseries right now. They just totally made him look like a different dog. Something closer to the movie dog. Don't do that stuff. It's just... Anyway. By the way, folks, I did see the Superman movie, and I liked it a lot. But my least favorite part of that movie was that stupid dog. I know that was a lot of people's favorite part. Not for me. Anytime animals misbehave, I can't stand it. So that movie just anyway. Green Lantern 24 or Legacy 591, 25, 592. Here they're starting the Starbreaker Supremacy storyline. I will be missing some parts probably because I'm not buying the Green Lantern Corps series. But if I see them in the shop and think of it, I might pick them up just to try not to lose pieces of the story. But overall, this is a pretty good book, and I like the fact that they're bringing in other characters like, like the Dan Garrett Blue Beetle, and Kyle Rayner, and Superman's son are regular cast members. Anyway, speaking of House of Mystery, I did read one of the single issues or regular issues. In fact, I read the last issue, issue 321. I have other issues of this that I haven't read, quite a few actually, but I was really curious to see how they ended the series. You can see the horror host there with his suitcases. They did make about half of this issue about the fact that his comic was ending, and I thought that was fun. But otherwise, the other couple stories in here were pretty standard stuff. I was in the mood to read some different 90s DC. First, particularly, I was in this weird mood to read this 1999 Titans series. So I got the issues out of my unread boxes that I were still waiting on me to read. Here's issue 6, 9, 14, 15, and 16. Yeah, it's weird. I'll suddenly just get a craving to read a certain comic from a certain era, and it could be a comic that I previously wasn't even thinking about remotely wanting to read, and suddenly I want to read it, and that happened here. And in doing so, that led me to read some issues of Damage from '94. Here's number 4, number 6, which led into the Zero issue for Zero Hour. So, just in the mood to read some of those, and because of an advertisement in Damage, I got inspired to want to read an issue of Primal Force, this being issue 8. Jumping back to the present, I got caught up on my Titans issues 23, 24, and 25. They're not my favorite. This writer's not my favorite, but they're still perfectly fine stories. New Gods 8. World's Finest. Batman Superman World's Finest. 39. We are yesterday, part 4. There's 40. And 41. Mark Waid writing that book. And he's also writing this one, Justice League Unlimited, number 7, with the We Are Yesterday, part 5. Number 8, which is part 6 of that storyline, which honestly I wasn't that big on. But, it's fine. Can't love everything. And issue 9, which has the epilogue. Finally finished the Metamorpho the Element Man series. I read number 6. This series started out very strong for me. Um, by the end of the series, it just got a little too silly for me. As you can kind of see by Metamorpho being a winking sun. So it took me a little while to finally get to the last issue. Also finished out the Justice League The Atom Project mini with number 6. I read Batman 161 Legacy 926, the next chapter in the current Hush 2 storyline, which honestly it's not doing a whole lot for me. I mean, the art's pretty, but it's all right. Got caught up on my Nightwing issues with 126, 127, 128, and the last couple issues took it into a somewhat goofier realm by the nature of the story. So I'm kind of waiting for that story to finish so we can get back, hopefully, to something a little more serious. I read the first issue of Cheetah and Cheshire Rob the Justice League, which I liked. Greg Rucka writing comics again. I don't know if he truly left, but I haven't seen his name around too much. Got caught up on Batgirl, issue 8, 9, and 10. Some interesting stuff dealing with Batgirl and her mother, Lady Shiva, and a brother. Plus you have Bronze Tiger in there, so some fun stuff. Aquaman 7 and 8. That one going a little off the rails too, but whatever. And once again, one of my favorite reads of the month, New History of the DC Universe, number 2. And as I said in last episode, that's largely because of the index, not index, the more detailed chronology in the back, where they do this kind of thing and cite the issues. Like I said before, I'm a geek who loves that stuff. I'm one of the people that bought the Marvel Index books. Okay, so that was the 43 DC comics. Looking at let's do the indies. As I said, I was reading a lot of Oni. Finished out their Cruel Kingdom EC Revival miniseries. There's 3 and 4. Finished out their Cruel Universe mini with 3 and 4 and 5. And then they started up again with a new Volume 2, number 1. Really enjoying these. As I said last time, the stories don't all hit, but the artwork's pretty good in all the stories, and I just love them overall. Some Image, Jeff Johns, Hyde Street 7. Jumping over to Dynamite, we have Silverhawks 5 and 6. Mark Spears. Then I went ahead and read issue 17 of Thundercats, even though they haven't sent me 16 yet. I'll I'll deal with it somehow. I didn't read them in order, and well, quite frankly, that's the story of a lifetime of reading comics. You don't always get to read the issues in order, so I went ahead and read 17. Then, one of the treats of the month for me was getting caught up on this series. I'd only read the first 2 issues, but now I'm up to date, and I love this series. From Image, from Geoff Johns, we have Redcoat. Here we have number 3 and 4. Doesn't that look like John Krasinski a little bit? Uh, 5 and 6. Now the first 6 issues are kind of like one storyline, and then they start doing smaller stories, and then to me, that's when it really picked up, because it kept exploring different time periods, different ideas, different things. Here's number 7, 8, 9. Johnny Appleseed. Anyone? Number 10, Annie Oakley. Anyone? Number 11. Here we start a story with the Northerner, which ties more in with the larger mini universe of titles here with Geiger and whatever else. Junkyard Joe. So this is moving, turning out to be a interesting build up to a crossover. 12 and 13. So looking forward to the next issue of Redcoat. And of course Geiger, 16. I sampled this Image book. It's number 1, written by Chris Condon, News from the Fallout. I saw there was a second printing on the shelf, so I figured maybe this is becoming a hot book. So I actually checked elsewhere in the store and found a first printing and picked it up. I don't know if that will prove to be true, but I bought it and I read it, and it's pretty interesting. I'll probably go buy issue 2 next time I'm at the store. See if I still like it. Another Chris Condon Image. No, actually, this is Mad Cave, which I did like. Far Down Below, issue 1. Picked that up off the stands to give it a try. From Amp's Thunder Comics, I did get issue 2 of Never Wars. I'm on board this series for now. See where it goes. See if it keeps me happy. I wasn't going to buy the second issues of either one of these, but I did. Got Bloodletter 2 from Image. These are both part of the Spawn universe and the Curse of Shirley Johnson 2. Speaking of Mark Spears, I tried to hold out. I've been trying to hold out for the trade. But these issues were sitting there on the stands in the store, and I just couldn't leave them there. Mark Spears Monsters 4 and 6. So I read them, and I've read at least 2 of the other issues. So when I get the trade, which I will get, I'll have read most of it already. But just love this artwork in these issues. But I probably don't have to tell you that Mark Spears' artwork is good. Thundercats Lost, number 4. G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, 319. Got Transformers 23. I know Robert Kirkman's coming on board in a couple issues, and kind of intrigued to see where he takes it. Then a Hyde Street miniseries, Sisterhood 1 and 2. This has been pretty good, actually. I don't recall if this is 4 or 5 issues, but I already have the rest pre-ordered. Back to Oni. Red Blood Type 2 and 3. More Oni EC Revival. Catacomb of Torment, number 1. And Shiver Suspense Stories, number 1. And then for the last, back to Image again with G.I. Joe, number 9. Now, Marvel. So, in addition to seeing the Superman movie, of course, I saw the Fantastic Four movie, Fantastic Four First Steps. And it was amazing. I actually saw it twice in the theater. And I honestly loved that movie. And it inspired me to want to read Fantastic Four comics. So I read a lot of them. I went to my unread boxes of comics and started with whatever was sitting there that I hadn't already read. And there's some Doug Munch issues that I hadn't read. We have Fantastic Four 227. And these these had been sitting there because these issues are pretty dense with words. I hate to say that is a bad thing, because I love to get the value out of my comic, and I love reading. But it just looks daunting when you realize to finish the issue, you have to make sure you have enough time to read all of those words. But anyway, so I read that one, and the next one, 228, 229, 230, and 231. And from here is where it then went into, I believe, John Byrne. Don't quote me 100% on that, but I read everything from there onward to this issue, 332. And this is right on the end of the era when I read the comic as a young person. I started reading Fantastic Four at a certain point shortly after issue 300, and I read it up to, I don't know, 320 something. The Steve Englehart era was, that's when I started reading Fantastic Four. That's the era that I love, the era where the Thing became the spiky thing and all that. At the end of Steve Englehart's run, he started writing under the name, was it John Harkness? Yeah, John Harkness. He did this multi-issue arc where the Fantastic Four were prisoners of a rogue Watcher, and each issue was like a look inside of whatever they were dreaming. And that was a that was the about the point when I dropped the book, and didn't come back until later. But this was the point in which I finally finished that storyline. So 332, 333, and then with 334, Walt Simonson came aboard, and he was only the writer at first. And I read 334 a long time ago, but finally read 335, one of the Acts of Vengeance crossovers. And I remember these three Acts of Vengeance crossovers dealt with the team in a courtroom. 336. And then Walt Simonson finally then came on board full steam as a writer and artist. 337. Into the Time Stream. And this whole storyline had Thor and Iron Man as guest stars. And you really had the Fantastic Five. Because the Thing was Ms. Marvel, the Sharon Ventura Ms. Marvel. And Ben Grimm was just a human, but he had a thing suit. But yeah. And these Walt Simonson issues, and reading them, are fantastic. There's 338. They're just nonstop, action-packed, fun comic books. And some of his panel layouts and things are just amazing. 339. And I feel kind of bad for having these sit in my unread boxes for years. 340. 341. By the way, this Rosebud Time Sled recently appeared in some comic. I can't remember what. I want to say it was something Deadpool related, but I can't remember. 342. 343. Fantastic Four with big guns. 345. 346. So the FF find themselves lost in time, and then when they think they've come back to the present, they're not on their Earth, kind of thing. So 347. And 347 actually was one of the issues leading up to the new Fantastic Four, the Wolverine, Ghost Rider, Hulk, and Spider-Man, which I believe came the next issue, which I read back then. So I kind of stopped at that point. And Art Adams is actually doing the art in this issue and the next issue. And then I tried to get started again with the current series, and I read issue 20, Legacy 713. Fun story. 21, 714, and 22, 715. The FF doing the Blood Hunt crossover. And that's where I stopped. So I read quite a lot of Fantastic Four in August. The other Marvels, Jeff the Landshark one. I got, I don't want to say caught up, I finished the Arrow series. There were only 12 issues, and I had read issue 1 before, a prior month. So here's issue 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And this series, these were quick reads, but this series, I think the writer intended to go on longer than issue 12 because the storyline is not resolved. They kind of just end it. So I think, I don't think this was supposed to end at 12, but it did. I read Doom's Division 3 and 4. Amazing Spider-Man 8 or 972. Incredible Hulk 27, Legacy 808. Some Kev Walker doing the art in this issue. Wolverine 11 or 403. I've been enjoying this book overall pretty well. Saladin Ahmed writing this, also doing Daredevil. West Coast Avengers 9. Deadpool Wolverine 7. Read a couple issues of Eddie Brock Carnage, number 3 and number 4. This book is pretty good. I mean, it's dark, but it's Carnage, so of course, but it's actually pretty good. Finished the Doctor Strange of Asgard miniseries 3, 4, and 5. This was pretty good. I liked it. It was the mystery of it. It got a little convoluted in its plotting, but overall it was fun to read. So then I read X-Men Hellfire Vigil number 1, Phoenix 11, Ultimate Black Panther 18. Each issue of this is always a quick read, so sometimes that's appreciated. Red Hulk 7, still loving this book. Ben Percy writing Red Hulk with his buddies Machine Man and Deathlock. Love it. New Avengers number 2. Not so crazy about the clone Illuminati that they're fighting. But anyway, still worth a read. Read Superior Avengers 2, 3, 4, and 5. Spider-Man and Wolverine 3 and 4. And I was really happy because I mentioned last time that Carrie Andrews, not my favorite artist, but number 4, they got Gerardo Sandoval to do the art, and I am a fan of his, so that was nice. I read the new Captain America number 1, Legacy 772. It was a good read, but I'm just not quite sure why they're doing this. They're going back, telling stories, supposedly of when Cap first got out of the ice. I'm always a little wary when they do this because then they start writing stuff that might conflict with established history, and you're just kind of like, please be careful. Don't just start writing stories and make it all clash. But anyway, it's Jeff Infinity Paws. Weapon X5, last issue of that miniseries. that was a fun time. Joe Casey and Criss Cross. Hey, that's blast from the past. Power Man Timeless #4. X-Men Demons in Death. One shot. And I realized this and one of the previous one shots seemed to be collecting stuff that had been previously just on the app. So it's nice to get to read them in print, because I'm not reading them on the app if they're not in print. Gwenpool 2. Spider-Girl 2. And I finished... Oh, still have one more. I finished the Jessica Jones series from a few years ago. With issue 16, 17, and 18. It was a pretty good series. Enjoyed that. And the last comic for the month was a nice old Marvel Team Up #3 with the Human Torch and Spider-Man. This was a lot of fun to read. This was a recent pickup. It says third appearance of Morbius. Okay. But yeah. So there you go. All the comics I read for August 2025. So until next time, everyone, enjoy your comics.